Part 74. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 732. Chen-Ling recorded all the information about the United Freemasonry that Angel revealed under hypnosis into the recorder, word for word. Then he explained, because I met our comrades, I stopped hypnosis and stopped questioning. If there is an opportunity later, I will continue to collect intelligence, and find a way to pass the intelligence back to the country. The above is the entire report of Intelligence Agent 908. Sincerely, salute. Chen-Ling clicked the stop recording button of the recorder and lowered his head to operate the recorder. She found the audio file she had just saved. After listening to the first few sentences, she fast-forwarded to the end and confirmed that the recorder had recorded everything she said. Then she closed the recorder, stretched out her arms, and handed it to Zhang Jianyi, who was standing on the side of the ship. Passed. Zhang Jianyi took the recorder with both hands and carefully put the recorder into the sealed bag, next to the USB flash drive. After squeezing out the excess air from the sealed bag, he sealed the seal, checked it over and over again, rolled up the sealed bag, and put it into the inner pocket of the fisherman's vest. After zipping up, Zhang Jianyi patted his pockets. These two small things gave him an inexplicable heavy feeling, as if a huge mountain was pressing on his shoulders, a heavy responsibility. "Do you have a medical kit?" Chen-Ling pointed to his bare feet. Only then did the two brothers notice that her feet were scarred by broken glass and stones. "Yes. Please wait a moment." Zhang Jin immediately took out the medical box from the speedboat. Chen-Ling took the medical box, opened it, grabbed disinfectant alcohol, poured it on the injured foot, used tweezers to pull out the broken glass that had penetrated the flesh, and then returned the medical box. "Don't you want to put a bandage on it?" Zhang Jianyi asked. "No, what if the other party gets suspicious after seeing the bandage?" Chen-Ling pointed in the direction of the nameless island. "I'll go back to that island soon. If I'm lucky, I might be able to find a bandage, and it won't be too late to bandage the wound." 908, Zhang Jin couldn't help but persuade again, "Just come with us. Our two brothers are very skilled, and there are weapons in the boat. Even if we meet the enemy head-on, the three of us will work together to make it possible to escape." "Very high. The possibility is very high." Chen-Ling repeated, her expression calm. "No, soldier, I don't need the possibility. I want to be foolproof. If I lure them away, you will be absolutely safe." And he Chen-Ling pointed at Angel, who was still unconscious. "When he saw you, he was in a hypnotic state. When he wakes up, he will not remember that he has met you, and the enemy will not know that we have ever met you. We met. He will wake up at any time, and when he wakes up, the hypnotic state will be completely terminated. It would be bad to see you at this time. Think rationally. If I really escape with you, then the Unionist Society will immediately destroy the evidence of their evil deeds, the experimental data in the USB flash drive and the information on the recording pen will be useless. At that time, what can we use to mediate negotiations with them? What can we use to restrain the Free Trade Union from curbing our development? She is truly a great hero." The faces of Zhang Jianyi and Zhang Jin could not control the tragic expressions of pity for the heroes. Chen-Ling smiled brightly. "You too, don't show such expressions. Don't underestimate me, I'm very powerful." "We didn't underestimate you." Zhang Jin said immediately. Chen-Ling interrupted him and said, "My mission has been completed. The next step is up to you." After saying that, she started the motorboat. "In addition, you should stay as far away from Wyoming Island as possible on your return journey. You may also encounter interrogations on the way, but you don't need to panic. They are just doing routine inspections." Chen-Ling raised his eyebrows and said energetically to the two of them, "Goodbye, soldier. I wish you a safe journey." With that, she turned the throttle. The motorboat split the sea and sped away into the distance, only leaving them with a chic and decisive figure from behind. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 733. After hearing gunshots on the beach, Seongman knew something was wrong. He immediately dispatched men from the jungle and rushed to the coast. All the mercenaries stationed at the dock were wiped out. The President's Island steward was also shot and killed, and there was no means of transport for the steward on the sea. Apparently, Chen Ling and the others had escaped from the experimental island. Unless they have wings, Nathaniel was in disbelief after hearing the mercenaries' report, otherwise they wouldn't have been able to reach the shore so quickly. How did a thin woman lead Angel through the muddy roads and rugged jungles without transportation or outside help? A sharp-eyed mercenary bent down to check the marks on the ground. Then he looked up and saw the cable, and instantly understood. Report, they should have used the cable. Nathaniel despaired again. Although Seongman was frightened and angry, he was not panicked. He spoke quickly, "Don't worry, they can't run far. Neil, let's go to the speedboat now and use the satellite phone to contact the headquarters and the Southeast Asia branch. Chen Ling's expectation was good. On the other side of the experimental island, there was a hook-shaped bay with several maritime vehicles hidden away. Among them is a retired military speedboat equipped with a maritime satellite phone. Don't you think you died quickly enough? Nathaniel looked ashen. Why don't we drop everything now and find a place to hide? Listen to what I have to say. If you think it's not possible, it's still too late to run away, Seongman said while organizing his thoughts. In a while, you can find a way to contact the higher UPS of the Heji Association and say that the president brought a woman to the experimental island, and that woman blew up. He obtained our experimental results, including viruses and vaccines, and then hijacked the president and fled to the waters of Country F, requesting help from the United Economic Association to capture the villain as soon as possible and retrieve the president. The president will expose our lies. Nathaniel shook his head repeatedly. No, Seongnan said seriously, the president brought an unclean toy to our experimental island, leaked our top secrets, and blew up the experimental results. He must bear the main responsibility. We can help him cover it up, saying that he was coerced by the woman and had no choice but to land on the experimental island. In this case, it was too late for him to thank us, so how could he expose us? Besides, it's not like what we said is a lie. Have we already developed the ideal virus? Nathaniel's face slowly turned red. Hearing the last word, he showed a surprised smile and clapped his hands. That's right. The president doesn't dare to tell the truth. We can also apply for the laboratory again. The applicants and funds, restart the experiment. The president will never dare to tell the truth and can only cooperate with our lies. Of course, Seongman said with fierce eyes, if the president refuses to cooperate, we will have to kill him, and then put the crime of killing the president on that woman, and it will be over. Rick, Nathaniel grabbed the bear man's shoulders firmly, you are really a gift from God. It is a gift from God. Just do it. Bear man used the walkie-talkie to summon all the remaining mercenary forces on the island, and asked everyone to meet at Hook Bay. After everyone arrived, Seongnan ordered the mercenaries to pack up the military speedboats, equip them with weapons, and get into full combat readiness. Nathaniel came to the communications room and used a maritime satellite phone to contact the upper echelons of the Freemasonry. When the upper echelons of the headquarters heard that Angel had been kidnapped, they were furious. The upper management immediately held an emergency meeting. Nathaniel was waiting for good news. The headquarters had dispatched combat forces to Country F to support them. They fully obeyed Nathaniel's command and launched a comprehensive search and rescue operation. They must find Andrew Miller. Yes, it doesn't matter whether you live or die. The Unionist Association even dispatched an American SH-2F Sarin multi-purpose helicopter to search the sea from the air. The headquarters requested the Southeast Asian chapter to provide full support. The president of the Southeast Asian chapter, who was lying on a recliner and enjoying dessert leisurely, was shocked when he received this order. The president of the United Freemasonry headquarters, Andrew Miller, was actually hijacked by gangsters in his territory, the waters of Country F in Southeast Asia. If the president has 3 strengths and 2 weaknesses, he will not be able to become the president of the branch. After hanging up the phone, the president of the Southeast Asia branch immediately called the Minister of Department X of Country F. 10 minutes later, Country F entered a state of emergency search, a complete blockade of sea, land, and air, and strict interrogation of every passing ship and every tourist. Even if Chen Ling grows wings, he can't fly out of Country F's airspace. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 734. Angel slowly woke up. The raging sea breeze, the waves splashing on his face, the roaring sound of motorboats, and the blue sea and sky before his eyes, Angel didn't know where he was for a moment. He wanted to lift his arm, but found that his arm was stuffed into a field vest and could not move. "Are you awake?" a voice came from behind. A very standard and pure American accent, completely without the awkwardness before. It's her, Chen Ling. The memory was like a tide, flooding Angel in an instant. Nathaniel and Frederick team up to deceive. He had no choice but to cooperate with their plan to spread the virus. Chen Ling's skills were as strong as a special agent, but he couldn't control his body. He was like her puppet, obeying her words. The thrill of Chen Ling carrying herself and traveling through the jungle quickly along the cable. Connie, a servant she had never seen directly, sacrificed her life for her own safety. Then what? Angel couldn't remember. The next memory is shrouded in fog. Is it because Connie's death stimulated him and made him faint? Forget it, it didn't matter. At this moment, Angel was more world-weary than ever before. He suddenly felt that living was really boring and boring. What is the meaning of his existence? Will he still be happy? The woman behind him was the only person he thought he could rely on, trust, and like without any lust in his life. It turned out that they were all fake. "Who are you? What is your purpose in coming to me?" Angel asked. He was not interested in Chen Ling's answer. He didn't want to show his disappointment and the pain of betrayal. Otherwise, he will fail miserably. He wanted to uphold the pride of the Miller family. "I'm Chen Ling, a little star from China." "I think you should know it very clearly," Chen Ling replied. "As for who sent me here, that's a secret and I can't tell you." "Where are you taking me?" Angel didn't expect Chen Ling to answer. But Chen Ling didn't hide it. "Go to your island to borrow something. I'm injured and need to be taken care of." "Is she hurt?" Angel's heart was suddenly tugged. The next moment, Angel cursed himself in his mind. Am I humming despicable? She was hurt, shouldn't I be happy? Angel bit his back molars and tried hard to suppress the trace of heartache. He said in a vicious tone, "Then do you know who I am?" "Of course I know," Chen Ling said calmly, "the famous president of the United Freemasonry, Angel Miller." Angel took a sharp breath, and then couldn't help but shudder. It's Angel Miller. Not Andrew Miller. She actually knows her true identity. So, she called herself Angel on purpose. Angel didn't know why he was so sad. There was a strong bitterness in his throat, his eyes were swollen, and his nose was sore. Therefore, everything Chen Ling said and did on the island, including the way he dressed, had ulterior motives and was aimed at himself. Angel felt a sharp pain that someone had peeked into the most embarrassing secret. After a while, he forced himself to ask in an indifferent tone, Did Fang Wenjian send you here? Maybe, maybe not. Chen Ling did not answer directly. Angel then shook his head and denied his point of view. No, it's definitely not Fang Wenjian, he is just like me, a fool who was confused and used by you. Chen Ling smiled and said nothing. Angel stopped talking. The shadow of the nameless island appeared in the field of vision, the size of a chocolate bean. He couldn't help but ask again, you can escape, why come back? Chen Ling tapped her finger on the fuel level display on the instrument panel between the handles of the motorboat. I can't run away. That's stupid of you. Even if we blow up those viruses, we can still develop more viruses, you can't stop us forever. If I can stop it once, I will stop it once. If I can stop it twice, I will stop it twice. As for the future, Chen Ling smiled, in the future, more people will stand up and stop you. Angel was about to say something else when he suddenly felt something hard hit his lower back, a saber. Go ashore later, don't talk nonsense, you know, you are of no use to me now, Chen Ling said softly, tell them, this is your new way of playing. Angel shut his mouth. The motorboat approached the dock, and 4 gun-wielding mercenaries immediately strode towards the motorboat, ready to welcome the owner off the boat. When they saw clearly that Angel's arms were tied, the 4 mercenaries immediately stopped and raised their guns at the same time. Master? What are you? A mercenary said warily. I'm playing a game, Angel responded calmly, occasionally feel the feeling of being a hostage. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 735. Several mercenaries were stunned at the same time, showing surprised expressions. You look at me, I look at you. Their master usually plays a lot of tricks, but the master always plays the role of the strong party. Sensing something strange, the 4 mercenaries did not relax their vigilance. One of them continued to ask, Master, where are Charlie and Bessie who went with you? And where is Connie who brought you something? Why did the master come back on Connie's motorboat? Angel felt the dagger on his back poking him, and he said, I left them there to watch over them, so that they would not be lazy in doing experiments. What are you waiting for? Why don't you help me get off the boat? The 4 mercenaries looked at each other and then at Chen Ling. Even if there is a problem, what is there to worry about for such a timid girl? So, mercenaries A and B put down their guns. The gun ropes were hung around their necks, and they came forward to help Angel together. Mercenaries C and D were holding their guns in a casual manner. They didn't take Chen Ling seriously at all. They didn't even open the safety bolts of their submachine guns. The moment Angel's 2 feet landed on the dock, Chen Ling moved, just when the 4 mercenaries were focusing on Angel who had landed. Chen Ling's left hand holding the saber naturally drooped to her side after Angel was supported. This side was just the blind spot of the mercenary's vision. She suddenly raised her left hand and flicked her wrist. The saber with a cold light drew a bright silver arc in the air, and wiped the necks of the 2 mercenaries cleanly. The saber completed its mission and fell into the sea with a plop. While throwing out the saber, Chen Ling exerted force on her toes, stepped hard on the pedal of the motorboat, and flipped ashore with a nimble posture. The force of this step was so great that the motorboat was kicked far away towards the sea. Mercenaries A and B felt a chill in their throats and turned their heads to look at Chen Ling on the motorboat. However, their heads were not responsive and turned a little too slowly. Their throats were torn open and blood gushed out. The 2 men felt a chill in their hearts and their feet softened. They both fell to the ground. All this happened in a flash. Mercenaries C and D, who were standing a little further away, saw everything with their eyes and sent it to their brains, but their brains were confused and could not interpret the signals from their eyes very well. In such a moment of distraction, Chen Ling had already landed steadily in front of the 2 men like a big bird with its wings spread. The 2 men were holding M3 submachine guns in their hands, and their bodies were conditioned to pull the safety bolt. However, how could they be faster than Chen Ling? As soon as Chen Ling landed, his hands reached forward. His fingers pinched the fixing bolt between the submachine gun receiver and the magazine. With the force from his fingers, he bent it upward. The two long magazines instantly separated from the gun body and fell straight to the ground. Chen Ling kicked the two magazines away with a sweep of her right calf. The magazine of the M3 submachine gun is located at the front of the gun, which makes it very convenient to change the magazine. Chen Ling used this to remove the magazine as shown in the picture below. Who is Chen Ling? She is an expert in playing with guns. Thanks to Amos, Chen Ling has been throwing guns to her since she was old enough to understand. Later, Chen Ling could accurately tell the model of the gun by just touching it with her eyes closed. If you throw her a gun, she can dismember it into parts within 15 seconds. It takes another 15 seconds to reassemble the gun. Without waiting for the two mercenaries to react, Chen Ling released the fixing bolt with both hands, grabbed the gun barrel, pulled it hard, and stepped on the ground with both feet. With the help of the pulling force, her body was lifted into the air, and her legs bent at the knees and moved forward. The two mercenaries did not expect her to pull, and she staggered forward at the same time. Their fatal parts hit Chen Ling's knees like steel steadily, accurately, and fiercely. Ah! The two men let out a heart-wrenching gasp. Their hands unconsciously loosened their gun handles and covered their crotches. At this time, Chen Ling landed on the ground with both feet, and deftly pulled out the daggers from their waists with both hands, holding the daggers in reverse, with the tip of the blade facing down, and crossed his hands diagonally upward. Before the two mercenaries fell to the ground, their blood vessels and trachea were cut at the same time. Chen Ling pressed his body down, and the two daggers were inserted into the back of the two men's necks at the same time, cutting off the cervical nerves, giving them a quick death. The soul travels through the 18th line. The female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 736. After a series of intense movements, Chen Ling's expression remained normal, and he didn't even take a breath. She did not pause. After pressing down the two daggers that had penetrated the enemy's neck, she flicked her wrist, pulled out the daggers, and swung them to her side. The blood beads hanging on the daggers were thrown away. Chen Ling carried two daggers and walked quickly back to the shore. Mercenaries A and B were on the ground holding their necks and twitching. The two men were still alive, but their tracheas and lungs were filled with blood, making them extremely painful. Chen Ling didn't like torture. Even though the hands of these people were stained with the blood of innocent people, Chen Ling still stabbed them one by one into the back of the neck, ending their painful and desperate struggle. Angel, who witnessed the whole process, was already fascinated. Chen Ling's actions are clean and neat, without any sloppiness, and he interprets the aesthetics of violence to the extreme. It is more exciting than any other action movie. I should hate her, shouldn't I? She lied to me, she used me, she killed my soldiers, but why can't I help admiring her? Angel's eyes fell on Chen Ling's feet. Chen Ling's foot, which had stopped bleeding, began to ooze blood again. The white and tender feet were covered with various wounds. The flesh and blood were open and dripping with blood. Angel's heart was clogged when he saw it. At this time, he saw her bend down and pull out a clean dagger from the waist of the dead mercenary on the ground, and then walk towards him. Chen Ling raised his hand and pinched Angel's chin. She wanted to dislocate Angel's jaw, to prevent him from shouting and alerting the people on the mountain. But after a slight hesitation, Chen Ling raised the dagger in his hand towards Angel. Angel remained motionless, his eyes were calm, without any dodge or fear. Chen Ling did not hurt him, but cut off the left front of his coat. He pinched Angel's chin with his left hand, forcing him to open his mouth wide. Chen Ling balled up the cut clothes and stuffed them into Angel's mouth. Don't make unnecessary struggles, and don't make unnecessary attempts, otherwise, I will kill you before you can do any tricks. Chen Ling said coldly. Angel's heartbeat quickened and his blood surged, but it wasn't out of fear. He nodded. Chen Ling pressed on his shoulder and said, "Sit down." Angel sat down obediently, and Chen Ling crossed his legs, pressed the foot underneath, and buckled it up and on top of the other one. Angel's hands were tied, and he couldn't stand up at all without the help of outsiders. Chen Ling then went to collect the trophies from the mercenaries. The submachine gun she had previously captured from the experimental island was the same type of gun held by 3 of the 4 mercenaries she had just killed. They were all M3 submachine guns, presumably the arms supply to the experimental island and the nameless island. The merchants should be the same person. After bidding farewell to the Zhang brothers, Chen Ling dismembered the captured submachine gun into parts and put them in different pockets. In case of encountering an enemy, or when landing on Wyoming Island, the gun in her hand cannot be seen, which can effectively reduce the enemy's vigilance. Chen Ling bent down to pick up the magazine of the M3 that he had kicked away, and took out the dismembered gun from his pants pocket. She could have rewarded the 4 mercenaries with 4 bullets, which was quick and easy, but there were still mercenaries on the island. She was in the open when they fired the shots. The other mercenaries were hiding in the darkness of the mountains and jungles, so they could easily be hit by cold bullets. What's more, they don't know where Nathaniel and the others are. They may not expect that they will return to Angel's unnamed island, but if they fire the gun, they may attract their attention. Therefore, Chen Ling should try his best to quietly deal with everyone on the island, occupy the island as a base, and confront Nathaniel and the others. Chen Ling first picked up the only different M16A2 submachine gun and ejected the magazine. There were only 2 bullets left in the magazine. Without hesitation, she dismembered the submachine gun and threw it into the sea. She had to travel lightly, and carrying extra and useless weapons would be a burden. Chen Ling took the other 3 complete M3 submachine guns one by one and quickly felt the feel in his hand. He kept the one that felt best, dismantled the other 3, leaving only the magazine, and threw the others into the sea. Then, she picked up a dead body from her back and dragged it to the side of the pier. There was an outdoor table with a parasol and a few outdoor chairs. There were cigarette butts, lighters, and playing cards scattered on the table. The mercenaries guarding the dock have nothing to do most of the time. They just sit here playing cards, chatting, smoking and drinking to pass the time. Chen Ling placed the 4 mercenaries on chairs and put them into different poses. Unless they were close, it would be difficult to tell that these 4 people had actually been dead for a long time. He was trying to confuse the enemy and buy himself as much time as possible. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The soul travels through the 18th line. The female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 737. After handling all this, Chen Ling walked to Angel with the submachine gun on her back. She bent down and put down his awkwardly crossed legs, then pulled him up from the ground by the rope buckle on the back of Angel's vest. "Let's go," Chen Ling said, gently pushing Angel's back and letting him walk in front of her. Angel was quite cooperative, without Chen Ling urging him or pushing him hard. The 2 walked up the mountain together. When they reached a bend, Chen Ling suddenly gently pulled Angel's vest. Angel stopped. What happened? Angel listened attentively, but he heard nothing. He saw Chen Ling crouching, tiptoeing, holding the dagger in reverse, passing Angel and walking quickly forward. Just outside the bend of the road, she suddenly exerted her strength, like a cheetah pouncing on its prey, and rushed over. Silence. Angel stood still. The next moment, Chen Ling walked back with the dagger swinging. Seeing Angel standing there obediently, he nodded with satisfaction. "Let's go." Angel then stepped forward. When he reached the corner, Angel saw a motionless mercenary lying under a tree, obviously dead. Chen-Ling remembered the mountain road very well, and had sharp ears and eyes. After quietly killing 3 mercenaries, the two came to the top of the mountain. After getting rid of the last mercenary at the exit of the garden, Chen-Ling shook his arms. Angel didn't like mercenaries to appear in his house, which meant that now there was only Aurelie, the black and strong female chef, in the small Western-style building. At this time, the roar of the engine came from the horizon. Chen-Ling was very familiar with this sound. It was the sound of the American military helicopter. Nathaniel and the others had contacted the Masons, and obviously, the Masons also responded to their request for support. They came so fast. Angel and Chen-Ling looked at the distant sky together, and the helicopter was as small as a black fly. It must be the people from the Masons, coming to save me, right? Angel thought. Chen-Ling couldn't possibly escape. What would they do to Chen-Ling? Angel's eyes drifted downwards. The wound on Chen-Ling's foot was still bleeding. There was a medicine box in the house. How to remind her? Angel looked up at the small Western-style building. At this moment, he saw a black gun, sticking out from a window on the 2nd floor, aiming at Chen-Ling's back. It was Aurelie. She held the gun and tried to aim at Chen-Ling, and Chen-Ling was still looking into the distance. Be careful. Angel's mouth was stuffed with something, and he could only make a woohoo sound, drowned in the roar of the helicopter. The next moment, Aurelie pulled the trigger. Angel's 2 arms were bound. He couldn't push Chen-Ling away, he could only use his body to knock her away. However, he knocked into nothingness. Chen-Ling knew that Aurelie was in the house, especially when the helicopter sounded. She would notice herself with a gun on her back and Angel with her mouth gagged and arms tied. If she went to the house to search for Aurelie, it would be a waste of time. So Chen-Ling deliberately gave Aurelie a flaw, hoping that she would take the initiative to show up and attack her and then take a bullet. She kept an eye on the direction of the Western-style building, so when Aurelie's figure appeared at the window, she was ready to dodge. However, she didn't pay any attention to Angel. Bang dash. The gunshot sounded. Chen-Ling dodged sideways, and at the same time raised her hand to the direction of the gunshot and fired a bullet. The bullet whizzed through the window and hit Aurelie's left eye fiercely. After shattering the eyeball, it continued to rotate and impact unhindered until it penetrated her skull. The bullet lost its power and fell to the ground. Aurelie went to hell without a groan. It was not until she dodged to the side and pulled the trigger that Chen-Ling saw Angel rushing over from behind. Chen-Ling was stunned. Angel missed and fell heavily to the ground. Then, Chen-Ling noticed that a large pool of blood suddenly oozed out of his back. Chen-Ling immediately understood that he had found Aurelie and tried to save herself. This was something she had never expected. Chen-Ling bent down, carefully turned him over, tore off the field vest that bound him, tore open his shirt, and checked his wound. It was a fatal wound. The bullet pierced his lungs, and a small piece of his heart. The sound of the helicopter was getting closer and closer. Chen-Ling immediately bent down, carefully carried Angel horizontally into the small Western-style building, laid him flat on the ground, and then pulled the cloth out of his mouth. There was a lot of blood on the cloth, his lungs and trachea were full of blood. Angel gasped hard, and large mouthfuls of blood flowed out of his mouth. Chen-Ling lifted his head and put it on her legs, which could ease the pain of coughing up blood from the bullet in the lungs and give him as much air as possible. Chen-Ling looked into Angel's eyes. Your hypnotic state has been lifted. Chen-Ling wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth for him. Why did you save me? Cough huff. Angel spat out the blood in his mouth with difficulty, took 2 quick breaths, and said with great difficulty, because, I still like you very much. Cough, I want to be a good friend with you, the kind of friend, the kind of love. At this moment, Angel's eyes were unusually bright and clear. If you knew me before I became a demon, cough cough, would you save me? I will, Chen-Ling said very seriously, Angel, I will. I will do my best to prevent those terrible things from happening to you. Angel knew that Cheng Ling would lend a helping hand to any innocent person. But he was already very satisfied. He could feel the life in his body slipping away quickly. He squeezed out the last bit of vitality and said to her, Cheng Ling, the best thing in my life is meeting you. A short but brilliant smile bloomed on Angel's lips. Then his chest rose and fell violently, and large mouthfuls of blood gushed out of his mouth, like a blooming blood-red rose, beautiful, heroic and sad, and fleeting. The next moment, the terrible choking like gasping sound disappeared. Angel's head drooped weakly. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 738. Cheng Ling gently put Angel on the ground and wiped the blood from his lips with her sleeve. His face vaguely revealed some of the handsomeness of a girl. Angel was a bad guy. But no, she was not born a bad person. If she was born in a family that loved her and cared about her, perhaps she would be a sunny, lively, and smart girl, with family affection, friendship, and love. Unfortunately, she was born in the Miller family. She happened to be a twin with the heir, Andrew. Her life was destined to be a tragedy. In her life, she reached out to others for help several times and tried to make herself excellent in order to win the love of others. However, no one has ever shown her even a little love. If she can't see love, she will hate the whole world, and then want to destroy the world. Connie is sincere to her, but that is a kind of dedication from the bottom up, not equal. Cheng Ling half knelt beside her and mourned for a minute. There is a stack of neat white napkins in the bamboo frame of the table. Cheng Ling stood up, pulled out a napkin, unfolded it, and covered her face neatly. Angel, Cheng Ling said softly, let's go, let's go. Don't look back. The helicopter above her head circled several times. Without noticing anything unusual, it flew away. She still had some time to bandage her wounds and arm herself. But time was very limited, and she had to be quick. Cheng Ling stood up and looked around the living room. Where would the medicine box be placed? This kind of 3-story small house with a swimming pool and garden usually puts the medicine box in the living room on the first floor. There were 3 oak cabinets against the wall in the living room. Cheng Ling walked over quickly and opened the door of the first cabinet. The wound on her foot tore a little, and it hurt so much. Cheng Ling had to adjust her posture to avoid the larger wound. The first cabinet contained some exquisite tea sets, cups, tea cans, coffee beans and other things. In the second cabinet, there were piles of records, and in the lower right corner, there was a medicine box. Cheng Ling took out the medicine box, put it on the ground, opened it and took a look. Everything she needed was in the medicine box. She still opened the third cabinet and took a look. There were actually several pistols and magazines in it. Cheng Ling immediately put these things in her pocket. Then, she went to the guest bathroom next to her and washed the dirt on her feet. Then she returned to the living room, first used tweezers to remove the broken sand and stones in the wound, then rinsed it with disinfectant, applied some wine, and wrapped it with bandages, not only the wound, but also other places, just like wearing a pair of bandage socks. Connie's room is on the first room on the left on the second floor. Connie's feet are about the same size as her own feet. As a housekeeper who has lived on this island for a long time, her room should have shoes other than flip-flops and slippers. Cheng Ling guessed right. There is a shoe rack on the balcony of Connie's room, and there are many shoes on the shoe rack. There is a pair of sneakers, the surface of which has faded a little due to the sun, but the soles have no wear and tear. Connie has been idle since she bought the sneakers. The size was half a size larger than her own feet. She bandaged her feet and just tied the shoelaces tighter. Cheng Ling opened the drawer of the wardrobe, took out a pair of new socks and put them on her bandaged feet, and then put on the shoes. The feeling of having her feet wrapped was very solid, although she could endure the pain of her injured feet, it would still limit her performance. Chen Ling did not delay, and took a cloth bag from Connie's cabinet and began to search the small villa. She put everything that could be used as a weapon in the bag. She also found a notebook. Chen Ling took a look and did not do anything with the notebook. When she had found almost everything, Chen Ling carried the bag and went up to the third floor. There was a balcony on the third floor with a wide view. Chen Ling could occupy it for better defense and attack. There were tables and chairs on the balcony, and there were cushions on the chairs. Chen Ling pulled off a cushion, put it in the corner of the balcony, and sat down. She put the bag in front of her and took out a bag of toast, a vacuum-packed sausage, and a bottle of mineral water. She tore open the sausage bag with her teeth, took 2 bites of the sausage, and dragged out a piece of toast, stuffing it into her mouth in a few seconds. She chewed it with big mouthfuls, and soon finished the toast and sausage. Finally, she picked up the bottle of mineral water and drank it in big gulps. After her stomach was full, Chen Ling placed the weapons in the bag in front of her one by one, arranged the magazines neatly in different categories, opened the safety bolt of the submachine gun, and everything was ready. Next, it was time to take the most difficult step, sorting out and burying some of her memories. Nathaniel and Xiong Nan suffered such a big loss, and they were furious. When they calmed down, they would doubt Chen Ling's identity after a little thought. Chen Ling's purpose was very strong, to get close to Angel and blow up the laboratory. Angel is the top leader of the Masons, and the human purge plan of the laboratory is the top secret of the Masons. If there is no traitor, how could Chen Ling know all this? Nathaniel and his friends will not be destroyed for their great dream, and will definitely find out the traitor. Then, John Killen, who pretends to be Fang Wenjian, will be the first suspect. Chen Ling was not worried that John Killen would reveal any flaws, she was worried that she would reveal John Killen's true identity. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 739. Just now, Angel revealed that the Freemasonry was still researching electric shock brainwashing experiments on a certain island. This is an area that Chen Ling doesn't understand. After receiving electric shock, will he really have hallucinations and reveal his innermost secrets? Chen Ling couldn't tell for sure. But she felt that Nathaniel and the Bear Man would definitely find a way to dig out the secrets from themselves, especially the identity of the traitor lurking in the Freemasonry. Chen Ling never takes chances, she wants to ensure that she will not reveal John Killen's secrets under any circumstances. As it happens, she is a master of memory control. The most mysterious part of the human body is the brain. There are 2 important functions of the human brain, one is creation and the other is memory. Memory is a quite complex process, involving the interaction of various areas of the brain. Forming memories, including encoding, storage, and recall. According to the sound, shape and meaning of things, different codes can be generated correspondingly, sound code, graphic code, and meaning code. Chen Ling likes to describe human memory as a library. On each bookshelf, books with different coding rules are placed in categories. When we want to recall something, there will be an index keyword. Based on this keyword, a specially designated book can be found. You can open the pages and read the content inside. What she has to do now is to put all the books about John Killen's coding into an imaginary box, and then sink the box underground in the library. Even if she dies, no one will be able to dig out this treasure chest. Not even Chen Ling himself. In other words, as long as she puts the book John Killen in the box and buries the box, she will forget everything related to John Killen. Unless, the other party has the key. The key can be a special text, a special phrase, or a special behavior. When the other party finds the key is like an invisible thread, pulling out the buried box. At that time, the box will be opened automatically and the book John Killen will be returned to the library. The lockbox will see the light of day again, it will be opened automatically, and the book will be returned to the library. Only then will Cheng Ling remember everything related to Jongkilin again. This is the first important thing. And the second important thing is to create replacement memories. A person's memory about something or someone is not a single point or an independent straight line, but a network. It will be related to other things, other people. If you just extract a few points or lines, your entire memory network will be confused and disintegrate. It may even lead to insanity and memory disorder. By creating a false memory that is consistent with the real event, your brain accepts the event and invests in strong psychological suggestions to make it a real dominant memory. But doing something to deceive the brain may have unexpected side effects, but at this moment, Cheng Ling had no choice. Jongkilin, this book is probably very thick. After all, it carries the memories of 2 lifetimes. The first time I saw Brother Lan, he was only 5 years old. He was holding a bunch of candied haws in his hand and he looked like a tiger-headed man. I defrauded him of his candied haws. Every time, I want to grab his snacks, and then see him rubbing her head with a doting look on her face and calling her a silly girl. General Lan, who is frowning when the war is tense, will still relax his brows when he sees her, showing 2 rows of bright tiger teeth, telling her that there is no need to be afraid, he will take care of everything. Then meet again. She participated in desperate survival and led the crew through the forest to wait for his rescue. At that time, she did not know that this person had played an important role in her life in the past and in the future. When the 2 met again for the first time, they were deeply wary of each other. Later, the 2 of them fought in a dark cabin on a rainy night. She found the memory of her previous life again. Jongkilin plays Fang Wenjian. Memories made Cheng Ling raise the corners of his mouth from time to time, and shake his head and sigh from time to time. This book called Jongkilin is so exciting, but she has to hide this book temporarily. After all the memories related to Jongkilin were put into the book, a mock book with black gilded characters appeared in Cheng Ling's mind. She reluctantly touched the spine of the book and put it aside. The next thing to sort out are the books that are closely related to Jongkilin, Ji Chenjiao after his return, Alizé who followed him, Zhang Zhenqiu, who is loyal, patriotic, and wise and understanding, leaving the survival crew Zhang Qiun later. Cheng Ling quickly sorted through the books and put them in the box, but did not bury the box immediately. Once the fabricated memories are complete and all the missing gaps have been filled in, the box can be buried. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 740. Making up memories is easy for Cheng Ling, after all, she is also a writer. I combed through it twice and found no flaws. How to set up the key? After thinking for a while, Cheng Ling had an idea. After setting a series of passwords, she sighed, then closed her eyes. This is something that requires you to put aside distracting thoughts and devote yourself wholeheartedly. She came up with the idea of burying real memories and replacing them with false memories after reading Zhuangzi, Equality of Things by the Chinese thinker Zhuangzi. Then, she conducted 2 experiments. Before replacing her memory, she recorded a video for herself and hid the key to restoring her memory in this video. And wrote a handwritten note to remind myself to watch the video. After burying the box, she saw the note in her hand, then looked at the video, saw the key, and retrieved those memories. Those 2 small experiments on buried memory were both very successful. It's a pity that this time she can't give herself any hint to retrieve her true memory. Cheng Ling comforted herself, it doesn't matter if you don't remember it. Whether you can survive or not is the key. Asterisk. The helicopter hovered over Wyoming Island for a while. There were 3 people on the helicopter. The driver wears a headset and controls the steering column. On one side, a scout looked at the island with a telescopic lens. One scout patted the other scout and gestured, "I just heard gunshots." The noise of the helicopter is very loud, and it is difficult for the other party to hear clearly if you rely on your mouth to speak. The other scout waved his hands to indicate that he didn't hear. The two looked at the unnamed island below with binoculars. The island was quiet and peaceful, with nothing out of the ordinary. On the sea surface of the Wyoming Island Pier, there were two motorboats quite far apart, which did not attract the attention of the scouts. In Country F, motorboats can be seen everywhere, and there are several motorboats parked around almost all inhabited islands. It appears that the target suspect did not land on the island. After the two scouts exchanged the same views, they turned on the headset on the earphones and said to the driver, "There is nothing here, let's search far away." At the same time, Country F dispatched two Marine Patrol teams, including the hidden force of the United Freemasonry in Country F. They drove patrol boats, speedboats, and high-speed boats, and cooperated with helicopters to conduct a blanket search. Many fishing boats, sightseeing boats, and yachts were intercepted by them and asked to cooperate with the inspection, including the Zhang brothers' private yacht. After the F Country Patrol Police boarded the Zhang brothers' yacht, they searched every inch, even the fish boxes and the bottom of the boat. The patrol team did not let the Zhang brothers leave until it was confirmed that there was no one hiding on the yacht. The Zhang brothers calmed down and drove back to the mainland of Country F. Search teams can be seen everywhere in docks and ports. Chen Ling was right, if she went with them, there would be no way to escape. The search team had thermal imaging equipment, and any hiding place would be as obvious as lice on a bald man's head. The two Zhang brothers looked as usual and walked ashore unhurriedly, finding their own car parked at the pier, saying hello and joking with acquaintances along the way. It wasn't until the two of them got home and closed the door that they both breathed a sigh of relief. Zhang Jianyi immediately took out his mobile phone and logged into Weibo. "Going to sea today, you will have a lot of harvest. Not only did I photograph rare birds, I also captured a very precious red snapper. Eat it steamed and paired with Shaoxing rice wine, yum. Invincible." The blog post is accompanied by a picture of Zhang Jianyi holding a red sea bream with a big smile on his face. This is the secret code agreed between the Zhang brothers and the Special Security Bureau. The Weibo they run often posts pictures. But a few special fish, paired with special words, have different meanings. The content posted on Weibo today means, "We have made a major harvest and need to return home urgently, requesting support from the headquarters. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment." Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 741. Since the secret information of Chen Ling was cracked, the Special Security Bureau has been keeping a close eye on the actions of Country F. Country F suddenly dispatched the National Defense Maritime Search Team to block the coastline and strictly check the personnel at the port docks. Zhang Zhenqiu immediately realized that things might not be good. The informant reported that the patrol team of Country F asked the patrol officers to find two people. One was Chen Ling. The other was the president of the Freemason Society, Andrew Miller. Could it be that Chen Ling took the president of the Freemason Society hostage and ran away? Zhang Zhenqiu speculated that either her life was endangered or she had made a major discovery. Will Chen Ling be in danger? The Zhang brothers went out to sea early in the morning. Can they find Chen Ling? When everyone was waiting anxiously, they suddenly found that the Zhang brothers' Weibo had updated the content. Real red sea bream. The Zhang brothers succeeded. Zhang Zhenqiu didn't have time to breathe a sigh of relief. He ordered his employees to use the designated fan account to leave a message under the new Weibo of the Zhang brothers. "Love life and food, real red sea bream, you are so lucky, I recommend you to braise this plump red sea bream. It is best to cook it while it is fresh and not overnight. The specific method is, 18g starch, 45g cooking oil, 2 spoons of vinegar, 4 spoons of soy sauce, 32 g of sugar. The code is translated as braised, take a plane at the airport. Do not leave it overnight, the time specifically refers to today. The number of condiments refers to the departure time and flight number of the plane. As soon as the Zhang brothers received the reply, they immediately packed up and set off. They had to catch the flight 2432 to Fengcheng at 1845 tonight. The Special Security Bureau added its own personnel to this flight to secretly protect the safety of the Zhang brothers. Zhang Zhenqiu even thought about how to take Cheng Ling away from F country if he was stopped at the F country airport. However, the informant reported that the Zhang brothers only bought 2 plane tickets, but did not find any companions. Zhang Zhenqiu's heart sank. The Zhang brothers were not stopped and successfully boarded the plane and returned to Fengcheng. After getting off the plane and arriving at the parking area, the Zhang brothers saw the low-key black car of the Special Security Bureau. The two got in the car and sped all the way to the Security Bureau. Zhang Zhenqiu saw the two and went to meet them. The Zhang brothers immediately handed the USB flash drive and the recorder to Zhang Zhenqiu. "Where is 908? Zhang Zhenqiu took the things and asked. 908, is still in F country, Zhang Jianyi answered with a clenched fist, and it is very likely that it has fallen into the hands of the enemy. Although there was such a guess, Zhang Zhenqiu still felt cold in his heart when he heard such an answer in person. What happened? Zhang Zhenqiu urged. Zhang Jianyi, you tell me. Zhang Jianyi then used the shortest language to narrate how he met Cheng Ling on the sea, how he recorded, and how he separated. This time, the other party dispatched so many people. Unless Cheng Ling knew magic, she would not be able to escape the capture of the enemy. You two brothers have worked hard, but you can't rest yet. Look at the USB flash drive and recorder with us. I still have questions for you, Zhang Zhenqiu ordered. The two brothers answered in unison, follow the arrangements of the superiors. Zhang Zhenqiu added, tomorrow you will take some photos of the wedding banquet with your colleagues in the evidence forgery team and upload them to the internet. The day after tomorrow, return to F country to wait for orders. The two brothers suddenly left F country. They needed a reason so as not to arouse the suspicion of the enemy. Returning to the country to attend the wedding banquet is obviously a good reason. Cheng Ling is still in F country, waiting for the country's rescue. Information Analysis Department, analyze the contents of the USB flash drive and recorder immediately, Zhang Zhenqiu ordered. In addition, notify all personnel in F country to keep an eye on the patrol team of F country. If there is any movement, report it back immediately. They have to race against time with the enemy. Everyone looked at the contents of the USB flash drive together, and people were sweating in the cold weather. What a vicious virus attack. However, after listening to the recorder, everyone was shocked beyond words. Cheng Ling spoke clearly and her voice was crisp, allowing everyone present to hear clearly. She had just finished a long list of network addresses, and then said, this is a dark web address that specifically records evidence of crimes committed by the Masons and celebrities and dignitaries controlled by the Masons. If you want to enter the dark web without the other party noticing or causing abnormal network intrusion, I recommend a method. The Special Security Bureau immediately entered the dark web according to Cheng Ling's method. The dark web lifted its mysterious veil and revealed its ugly face to everyone. Everyone present was shocked. Shocked by the unbearable video, the cruelty and anti-human behavior of the characters in the video, and even more shocked by the familiar heavyweights in the video. Each of them is familiar to the general public. Zhang Zhenqiu looked at the screen in silence. After a long time, he suppressed his excitement and said, do you know what these things mean? It means that we can strive for a decade or even decades of peaceful development. If the celebrities and dignitaries in these photos and videos are known to the world, then the Western capitalist countries that are against China will lose the public's trust. Their governments are forced to reshuffle. But it will take at least a dozen years to reshuffle. It will take decades at most. It also means that we have a chance to save Chen Ling.